how much longer are you gonna wait? Until Monday? Until next month? Until the perfect year? Until the moment you finally feel ready? Let me tell you something that perhaps no one has told you with enough honesty. That perfect moment isn't coming. It never arrives. Because life doesn't rearrange itself to make you comfortable. Life tests you to see if you truly want what you say you want. Many people say, I'll start when I feel better. I'll change when I have motivation. I'll try when I'm less afraid. But listen to this carefully. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they spend their lives waiting to feel ready. And the truth is this: no one feels ready. No one. The courageous feel fear, the disciplined feel exhausted, the successful experience doubt. The difference is that they learn to keep moving despite feeling all of those things, because they understood something powerful. You don't have to feel strong to take action. Taking action makes you strong. Think about this. How many times have you abandoned something not because it was impossible, but because it was uncomfortable, because it hurt, because it took time, because the results didn't come quickly, and then your mind started telling you, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe I'm not enough. Maybe I should give up. But don't confuse difficulty with the wrong direction, because many times pain doesn't mean you're on the wrong path. It means you're growing. Everything valuable is uncomfortable. Growth is uncomfortable. Healing is uncomfortable. Change is uncomfortable. Discipline is uncomfortable. But staying the same hurts too. And now you have to decide. Which pain are you willing to choose? The pain of effort or the pain of regret? Because there is something heavier than failure, and that is looking back one day and asking yourself, what would have happened if I hadn't given up? That thought destroys people, because regret has a cruel way of following you in silence. It doesn't make noise, but it appears at night when everything is quiet, when no one is distracting you. And it whispers, you could have tried. You could have been more. You could have fought. Don't let your story end that way. Don't become someone full of potential but empty of courage. You were not born merely to survive. You were not born to live small. There's something inside you waiting to emerge, something stronger, wiser, more disciplined. But that version of you doesn't appear on its own. It is built on difficult days, when no one is watching, when no one believes in you, when progress seems painfully slow. That is where character is formed, because anyone can work when they feel motivated. But the people who change their lives work even when they don't want to. And yes, there will be bad days, days when you fail, days when you feel like you're moving backward. But listen to this. Failing does not make you weak. Giving up steals your opportunity to discover who you could have become. Don't fear failure. Fear remaining the same. Fear settling. Fear becoming someone who abandoned their own dreams. Because time does not stop. And one day you will look back. The question is, what will you see?
Excuses, fear, broken promises, or someone who, even while exhausted, kept fighting. There's something you must understand. Your future doesn't change because you wish for it. It changes because you decide, because you act, because you move forward, even if it's slow, even if it's uncomfortable, even if you don't have all the answers, because clarity doesn't always come before the journey. Sometimes it reveals itself while you're moving. And maybe today you don't understand everything. Maybe you're lost. Maybe you're afraid. But I want to leave you with this. You don't need to see the entire staircase to take the first step. Just move forward. Do what you can with what you have today, right now. Because there are seasons in life when nothing seems to make sense. But later, you look back and realize that every setback was shaping something within you.
Something stronger.
Something more authentic.
And maybe,
just maybe,
the delay was not rejection. Perhaps there was a purpose quietly molding you. One that wasn't shouting, but was preparing something greater within you. Don't abandon the process because the person you've been searching for might be waiting just beyond this battle. Listen to this carefully. Making mistakes does not make you a failure. Falling down does not make you weak. Losing a battle does not mean losing the war, but many people live carrying something far too heavy. The guilt of who they used to be. They keep punishing themselves for old mistakes, for poor decisions, for moments when they were not their best selves, and little by little they begin to believe something dangerous. Maybe this is all I am. Maybe I'll never change. Maybe I'm too broken. No. Listen to me carefully. You are not your worst moment. You are not the mistake you made. You are not the dark season you went through. You are not that exhausted, lost, or confused version of yourself, because we all have chapters we don't like. We all have nights we never talk about. We all carry scars, but a scar is not a life sentence. It is evidence that you survived. And maybe right now you're fighting with yourself, looking backward, thinking too much about what went wrong, about who let you down, about what you lost, about what you didn't achieve. But let me ask you something. How much longer are you going to remain imprisoned by something that already happened? Because there are people who are physically free, but emotionally trapped in a past that no longer exists. And the saddest part is that they keep punishing themselves for a person they aren't anymore. Listen to this truth. Guilt is meant to correct you, not destroy you. Learn, take responsibility, make adjustments, but keep moving forward, because staying trapped in the past changes nothing. It only steals your energy, your present, your peace. And yes, maybe you made mistakes. Maybe you failed. Maybe you disappointed someone. Maybe you even disappointed yourself. Welcome to the human experience. We all fail. Every single one of us. But there are two kinds of people: those who use their mistakes as an excuse to give up, and those who use their wounds as fuel for growth. The question is, which one will you be? Because pain can either drown you or awaken you. It depends on what you choose to do with it. Some people allowed rejection to make them bitter. Others allowed rejection to make them stronger. Some people allowed loss to destroy their faith. Others found a new reason to rise again. It all depends on the meaning you give it, because where your focus goes, your energy follows. If you only look at what's broken, you will live broken. If you only focus on failure, you will live defeated. But if you begin asking yourself, what came to teach me through this? Something changes. You begin to heal. You begin to grow. You begin to rebuild yourself. And here's something important. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. Healing means remembering without destroying yourself, remembering without remaining trapped, remembering and being able to say it hurt. It was difficult. I would never want to go through it again. But it made me stronger. Because many times, the darkest seasons reveal who you truly are. It's easy to believe in yourself when everything is going well, but true character appears when everything seems to be falling apart, when nobody applauds, when nobody understands, when you're exhausted, when you're afraid, and still you keep going. because you understood something. Your story does not end here. As long as you're breathing, you can still change. You can still rebuild yourself. You can still begin again. It doesn't matter how many times you fail. What matters is how many times you choose to return, because strong people are not those who never fall. They are the ones who learn to rise without becoming slaves to the past. And maybe today you're going through a difficult season. Maybe nothing makes sense. Maybe you feel like you've lost your direction. But I want you to remember this. Not every storm comes to destroy your life. Some storms come to clear the path, and even if you don't understand it right now, sometimes the most confusing seasons are preparing the strongest version of you. Because even when everything seems broken, sometimes heaven is still working in silence on something you cannot yet see. Your pain does not decide your future. Your discipline does. Leave a like and subscribe. There is a silent battle destroying many people. And it is not failure. It is not money. It is not problems. It is the constant war against themselves. Because there are people who can endure the pain of the world, but cannot endure 5 minutes inside their own minds. They speak harshly to themselves. They punish themselves. They shame themselves. They judge themselves with a severity they would never use with someone they love. And let me ask you something. If you were your own best friend, would you like the way you speak to yourself? Because many times you are more patient with a stranger than you are with yourself to others, you say. Don't worry, you're gonna get through this. You made a mistake, but you can improve. Don't give up. But when it comes to you, there is no patience, there is no grace, only punishment, only guilt, only pressure. And no one can heal that way. Listen carefully. Being hard on yourself is not wrong. Destroying yourself is. There is a huge difference. Discipline corrects, self-destruction humiliates. Discipline lifts you up. Excessive guilt drags you down, because if every time you fail, you become your own worst enemy, you will eventually grow tired of living with yourself. And remember this: the person you will talk to the most for the rest of your life is yourself. So learn not to turn your mind into a prison. Yes, expect more from yourself. Yes, improve. Yes, be disciplined. But do not forget to give yourself something many people overlook: grace. Because no one builds a strong life by hating themselves every single day. No one. True strength appears when you learn to correct yourself without abandoning yourself. When you can look in the mirror and say, I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not who I used to be. And that matters. It matters more than you think, because many times you are so obsessed with what is missing that you fail to see how far you have come. You only look at the mountain, but you forget the road you've already traveled. You forget the battles you survived, the nights you endured, the days you wanted to give up but kept going. And even if it doesn't seem like it, it counts too. Because growth does not always feel like victory. Sometimes growth feels like exhaustion, like confusion, like losing old parts of yourself. And it hurts, of course it hurts, but do not confuse discomfort with failure. Sometimes you are evolving, sometimes you are breaking old patterns, sometimes you are leaving behind a version of yourself that could no longer go with you. And here is something important. You cannot build a great life while deeply hating yourself. It doesn't work, because you will end up sabotaging everything: your relationships, your opportunities, your peace, your purpose. Why? Because deep down you won't feel worthy of something good. And that is dangerous. That is why you need to begin building something powerful. Self-respect, not ego, not arrogance. Respect, the kind that is born when you do difficult things, when you keep your word, when you become someone reliable to yourself. Because real self-esteem does not come from applause. It comes from evidence. Evidence that you fought, that you kept going, that you did not run away. And yes, you will still fail. There will still be bad days. There will still be setbacks, but this time, do not destroy yourself because of them. Learn, adjust, get back up, and keep moving. Because no one wins this battle by being perfect. It is won by being consistent, by being honest, by being strong, but also compassionate with yourself. And listen to this carefully. You do not have to become someone else to deserve respect. Start by stopping the habit of abandoning yourself. Perhaps the greatest change in your life will not begin when you earn more money, nor when you achieve more success. Perhaps it will begin the day you can finally look in the mirror and say, I still have flaws, but I am still choosing to believe in myself. And maybe there, in that quiet moment, you will discover that even your wounds were trying to teach you something deeper. Because sometimes when everything inside you feels like a war, there is still peace waiting to be found in a place higher than you ever imagined. There is something that destroys more dreams than fear, more than a lack of money, more than a lack of opportunities. And it is called negotiating with yourself, that moment when you make a promise, but fail to keep it. You say, I'll start tomorrow, just 5 more minutes. It doesn't matter today, I'll do it later. And without realizing it, you begin to break the most important trust in your life, your trust in yourself. Because listen to this carefully. Every time you let yourself down, your mind takes note. Every broken promise leaves a mark, and little by little you begin to believe something dangerous. Maybe I'm not disciplined. Maybe I can't do this. Maybe I'll never change. But it's not that you can't. It's that you've practiced giving up for too long. And whatever you practice becomes a habit. Many people want self-esteem, they want confidence, they want certainty. But very few are willing to do what is necessary to build it, because confidence does not appear from speaking kindly to yourself in the mirror. It does not come from watching motivational videos. It does not come from wishing for it badly enough. Confidence is earned, and it is earned when you do what you said you were going to do. Especially when you don't feel like it. Because anyone can act when they are motivated, but strong people have learned something. Motivation is a visitor, discipline is the one that builds the house. There will be days when you won't want to get up. Days when everything feels heavy. Days when your mind tries to convince you to quit. And there, right there, is where the person you are becoming is decided. Not on your good days, not when everything is going well, but on the days when no one is forcing you, and you choose to keep going anyway. Because character is not built in comfort, it is built through repetition, through small decisions, through things that seem insignificant. Getting up when you said you would, completing a small goal, finishing what you started, doing the right thing even when no one is watching. Those things may seem small, but they are not. Because you are training something invisible, your identity. And eventually you stop saying, I want to change. Now you say, I am someone who follows through. I am someone who fights. I am someone who does not quit. That changes everything, because you cannot have a different life while constantly making deals with your comfort. Comfort will always sell you a lie. It will tell you, rest a little longer. It's not a big deal. Tomorrow will be better. But many times, tomorrow turns into months, months turn into years, and years turn into regret. Do not allow that to happen. Stop postponing your life, because time keeps moving forward, even when you stand still. And one day, you will wake up and realize something difficult. The pain of discipline weighs very little compared to the pain of never becoming the person you were capable of being. So stop waiting until you feel ready. Do it while you're tired. Do it with fear. Do it imperfectly, but do it. Because there is a version of you waiting on the other side of this struggle. A stronger version. A more confident version. A more focused version. But that version does not appear by accident. It is built, decision by decision, day by day, promise by promise kept. And yes, you will fail sometimes. Of course you will. But do not turn a setback into an identity. Falling down does not define you. Choosing to stay down can. So get back up. Again and again and again until your mind stops asking whether you can and starts remembering everything you have already survived. Because in the end, discipline was never meant to punish you. It was meant to set you free. And perhaps, as you learn to keep your promises to yourself, you will discover that there has always been a quiet strength guiding you. One that never forced you, but patiently waited for you to choose to rise. There is something that is destroying the peace of many people, and they do not even realize it. It is called comparison. Looking at other people's lives and feeling like your own is not enough. Watching others move forward, achieve things, appear to have everything figured out, while you quietly ask yourself, what am I doing wrong? Why is everyone moving forward except me? Why do I feel like I'm falling behind? But listen to this carefully. You are not falling behind. You are simply comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20. And that will always hurt, because what you see in others is usually the outcome, not the process. You see the success, but not the difficult nights. You see the smile, but not the tears. You see the victory, but not the years of silent battles. People celebrate publicly what they trained for privately, but you only see the stage, not the sacrifice, and that makes you believe you're moving too slowly, that something is wrong with you, that maybe you are not enough. No, life is not a race of speed. It is a process of building. Some people bloom quickly, others bloom slowly, but slowly does not mean too late. It means process, because some things require time. Character requires time. Maturity requires time. Discipline requires time. Healing requires time. Becoming a stronger person also requires time. And here is the problem. Many people quit because they want quick results. They want to look better in a month, change their lives in a few weeks, find their purpose immediately. But the greatest things usually grow slowly, very slowly, like a seed beneath the ground. At first you see nothing. You think nothing is happening, but underneath something is being formed. Roots, strength, a foundation. And many times the most important growth is the kind no one can see. Because before you change your life, you have to change your mind. Before you win externally, you have to build something internally, and that takes time. So stop punishing yourself. Stop feeling guilty for not being where others are. Your path is different. Your battle is different. Your story is different. Some people started with support. Others started alone. Some had doors opened for them, others had to break through walls, and yet you compare yourself as if everyone had been given the same circumstances. Do not do that. Because while you become obsessed with other people's lives, you neglect your own, and there is something powerful waiting to grow inside you. If only you would stop looking sideways so often. Ask yourself this. Am I better than I was yesterday? Not better than other people. Better than yesterday. Because that is the real competition. You versus you. Your habits, your fears, your excuses, your mental limitations, that is where the true battle lies. And listen to this. It does not matter how slowly you move forward, you are still progressing as long as you do not stop. There will be seasons when it feels like nothing is changing, when progress seems invisible, when you feel tired, confused, discouraged. But do not give up during those moments, because many times when you most want to quit, that is exactly when something is beginning to transform. You cannot see it yet, but it is happening. Confidence is being built, discipline is being built, resilience is being built, and one day you will look back and realize that all the time you thought you were lost, you were actually being prepared. Because some battles do not come to stop you, they come to build you. And perhaps the time you have criticized so much was never a punishment. Perhaps it was teaching you patience, strength, wisdom, because some blessings arrive quickly, but the deepest ones often come when you have finally become capable of carrying them. So take a deep breath and keep walking. You are not late. You are not broken. You are not finished. You are simply in the process. And maybe, even if you cannot see it clearly yet, something greater has been quietly working within you, preparing you for the right moment without you even realizing it. Don't quit the process. Leave a like and subscribe. There are wars no one sees, silent battles, fights where there are no screams, but there is exhaustion, and one of the most dangerous is the war within yourself. Yes, that voice inside your head that never stays quiet, the one that reminds you of your mistakes, the one that minimizes your achievements, the one that demands perfection from you, but never celebrates your effort, the one that tells you you're not enough, you should have done better. Look at how others can do it. And without realizing it, you become your own worst enemy. You speak to yourself more harshly than you would ever speak to someone you love. You forgive everyone except yourself. You have patience with others, but with yourself you are cruel. And here's the question: how do you expect to build a good life if every single day you're fighting against yourself? You cannot live in peace if your mind is a battlefield. You cannot move forward if you're constantly tearing yourself apart from the inside. Listen to this carefully. Being hard on yourself does not always mean being strong. Sometimes it means being tired, wounded, confused, because there are people who believe that punishing themselves is discipline, that humiliating themselves is humility, that treating themselves badly will somehow make them better. But it doesn't work that way. Guilt does not build. Self-hatred does not transform. Shame does not heal. Yes, you must take responsibility. Of course you should. You must correct yourself. You must improve. You must challenge yourself. But there's a difference between pushing yourself and destroying yourself. Because growth does not mean hating yourself until you change. Growth means respecting yourself enough to evolve, and that changes everything. Because you begin to understand something. You are not your worst mistakes. You are not your worst day. You are not that fall. You are not that failure. You are not the thing that went wrong. You are someone learning, someone growing, someone fighting, someone trying to discover who they are in the middle of chaos. And yes, you will fail. You You will make mistakes. There will be days when you are not the best version of yourself. But that does not mean you have no value, because even strong people have dark days. Even those who smile also cry. Even those who seem confident also have doubts. The difference is this: they learn not to abandon themselves. They learn not to speak to themselves with contempt. They learn how to rise without destroying themselves first. And you need to learn that too. You need to start asking yourself, would I speak to someone I love this way? Because if the answer is no, then something has to change. Maybe you've spent years surviving, years fighting, years trying to prove something. But listen to this. You do not have to earn the right to treat yourself with dignity. You do not have to wait until you're perfect to respect yourself. You do not have to achieve great things to recognize your worth. Start small. Keep small promises. Speak to yourself with kindness. Acknowledge when you've done something well. Correct yourself without destroying yourself. Learn without humiliating yourself. And above all, stop turning your mistakes into your identity. Failing does not make you a failure. Falling does not make you weak. Feeling lost does not mean you're finished. Sometimes it simply means you're growing, because no one transforms without discomfort. No one matures without pain. No one discovers who they are without first feeling confused. So stop fighting yourself. Life is already difficult enough. Don't become your own burden too. Become an ally to your process, to your scars, to your growth. And if today you're not where you want to be, that's okay. Just don't abandon yourself. Because maybe what you needed most wasn't more strength, but more compassion for yourself where you were learning how to rise. And perhaps in the middle of that process, you'll discover that there is a quiet peace that has always been near, waiting for you to stop fighting and start listening.